Oh, speaking, well, I guess I don't want to speak about it now since we're just now going live, but something interesting and neat happened the other day.
Okay, we are live on Facebook. Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Bayshore. I am the Central Committee member of the Ohio Green Party, uh, representing Kent and Portage County. I'm joined here today by Margaret Elizabeth and Mackenzie Lacey. Today, we are doing a live stream to talk about the Greens in the LGBTQ plus movement. Margaret, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, Austin. Thanks for inviting me on the stream tonight to get a chance to speak about these issues. As you know, they're really close to my heart. So I am. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I am one of the co-chairs of the Green Party of the United States. I am one of the co-chairs of the Lavender Caucus of the Green Party of the United States, and the Lavender Caucus is the LGBTQIA plus caucus in our party. And I've been in that role for several years now. This is my second term as caucus co-chair, so I think year three for me. So it's been a pretty amazing experience. I've had the privilege and honor of earning the trust of my peers, both within the party and within my broader constituency of the queer community. And it's been a pretty significantly humbling experience, I must say, and personally rewarding in terms of growth and just kind of an engagement with my community and a sense of giving back in a real tangible way during a time which seems like we need to take direct action more than like intellectual contemplation of the seriousness of stuff. So I take this pretty seriously. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk about these issues. And so I'll pass it off now. Sorry for taking too much time. Thank you.
It's perfectly okay. And Mackenzie, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. My name is Mackenzie Lacey. I am a co-chair of the Young Greens of Ohio. I'm also the public relations officer for them. And I joined the Green Party in 2020 and have been involved ever since. So it's great. Yep.
And we were just joined by K.A. Hurd in the live stream. K.A., can you introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, how y'all doing tonight? I'm K.A. Harry Jr., running for city council in Cincinnati. I'm a co-chair of the Greens, Ohio. I'm Young Greens, Ohio, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you all for joining us today. Again, we will be talking about LGBT plus issues in the Green Movement. So if you have any questions or comments to our live stream, please make sure to put them down in the chat in the live stream. So our first question today is, why is there a need for an LGBTQ plus politics in 2021? Margaret?
So that's a great question. And there's actually a fair bit that we could say about this. And so you'll have to pardon me in a sense on most of my answers are going to be a bit more condensed than I would give if we had more time to just kind of expound. So all politics on some level is identity politics. And the idea that there's some sort of special attribute of black politics or feminist politics or LGBTQ politics is just blindness. And while identity politics can be practiced in good ways or bad ways in pursuit of bad goals or good goals, that's simply to say that politics can be practiced for both good and for ill. The idea that gendered or ethnic claims are despoiling a liberalism of pure selves and neutral rationality is little more than an unselfconscious form of identity politics. Politics is about collective decisions. This necessarily implicates individuals' identities by defining who is inside and who is outside of the community of concern and under terms in which the voting takes place. So the trend by which modern digital media forces, publications and indeed social media platforms and communications to be more aware of what resonates with audience is not an unalloyed good, of course, but given the centrality of identity politics to all kinds of political endeavors, and the way that badly skewed demographics at the commanding heights of the American media ecosystem can shift these things, this particular aspect of the trend is pretty clearly a change for the better. And right now, as you probably know, there are currently over 256 anti-trans bills pending before state legislatures around the country. And in Ohio, State Bill 187 has been sent to the state Senate. And this bill would ban transgender youth from participating in sports consistent with their gender identity, which is clearly a significant challenge affecting the broader swath of the United States in this current political discourse climate.
Thank you so much. Mackenzie, why is there a need for LGBTQ plus politics in 2021?
Like Margaret said, there is a good number of anti-trans bills that are being passed right now, which is ridiculous that they're even being brought up. People can still get kicked out of their jobs just because they identify as LGBTQ plus. There may be I think it's the Title IX law or whatever. I think it's that one that says like they can't discriminate on the basis of sex, gender, and sexual identity. But it's really hard to prove if you're getting fired because of that or not. So there may be laws, but they don't really work the way they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's
KA, why is there a need for LGBTQ plus politics in 2021 as a candidate for city council?
My first thing is because it is 2021. Should have been done in 2020. Should have been done in 2019. It's time. It's been time. They're human, regardless of the case may be. They're human, just like me and you, or just like any of us that's on this call right now. It's important that we treat them as such, regardless of their beliefs, regardless of religion, or whatever the case may be. We need to accept everybody for who they are, regardless of if they like something that may not go with somebody else's values. At the end of the day, they are humans. We make decisions. I make a lot of decisions that people don't like. But don't judge me based on things that you don't know. Don't judge me based on things that you're not educated about. But it's 2021. It needs to be done. It needs to be done right now, and it needs to get done. And my whole answer is because it is 2021. Everybody needs to be accepted for who they are.
Absolutely. So as we've seen in the state of Ohio and around the country, there has been a large uptick in violence against LGBTQ plus people. Unfortunately, mainly affecting transgender people, gender diverse people, and transgender Black and brown people as well. So how does the Green Party, as a party of nonviolence, go against and prevent this epidemic of violence against Black and brown, Indigenous, LGBTQ plus people? Mackenzie?
Well, first of all, the Green Party, most of us, are trying to be as accepting as we can of people from all cultures, backgrounds, sexual identity, and gender. We also are the party of nonviolence, so we try to deal with our differences nonviolently. And yeah. Sorry, but yes, most of us don't really think that you should be violent towards someone because they are different than you.
Absolutely. KA?
Yeah, I mean, violence doesn't solve anything. The only thing it does is make the situation worse. Violence against anybody is not acceptable at all. To combat that, we need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge that it is out here. We need to teach people how to actually approach each individual. Because you hate somebody or because you hate how they are, is not tolerable. It's not acceptable. And the thing is, when we see it, we need to call it out. We need to make sure that we address the problem. Don't just allow it to happen. when we see it, and just call it out as much as we can until people understand that they have right. Well, we all have rights, and we should be respected of our rights, regardless of the case. And whatever somebody may believe, well, I'm sorry, sir or ma'am or whoever the case may be. This is a human. This is my friend. This is my brother. This is my sister. This is my cousin. Like, it's like violence towards something that you don't understand makes no sense. Educate yourself, and now you will figure out why I love my people. I love my cousins. I love, regardless of whoever they are. I love them, and you should treat them with love also.
Thank you so much. Margaret, how does the Green Party address the epidemic of violence against LGBTQ plus people?
So that's a really great question, and I think it really gets to the heart of a lot of the issues which intersect the community. Systemic violence against queer people is pervasive and actually quite difficult to address from a political perspective. You cannot simply legislate morality. You can't simply make people not be violent. So the Green Party takes, I think, a very practical approach to lessening violence, harm reduction, if you will. And we advocate for things that reduce or ameliorate the intersections of oppression and violence. Things like Medicare for all, so there's equal medical treatment for everyone, so there's no oppression and violence within the medical system. Having things like a universal basic income, so that you can live a life without the deprivations of the capitalist society being imposed upon you, and the violence that comes with living in a marginalized existence. And of course, the right to housing. Everyone should have a basic accommodation in which to live, so that they are free of the sort of hardships that we see pervasively impacting the disproportionately young community of people who are impacted by climate change and systemic violence all around. At a certain point in your life, you can become somewhat inured to those things if you have enough material and capitalist concerns. If you have enough money, you can keep yourself, pretty safe from a lot of the violence. But if you're a poor kid, living in a marginalized existence, housing and medical care and universal basic income are some really practical ways to change your life for the better and alleviate the harm that most of us experience.
Thank you so much. So our next question, many young people and people left of center believe that the Democratic Party is the party of LGBTQ plus liberation, of the gay rights movement. However, we have seen in many Democratic controlled states in the country that, for specifically Virginia, there is no form of anti-discrimination legislation whatsoever. So how does the Green Party differentiate itself from the left of center Democratic Party when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues? Let's start with KA.
A couple of things that we can do, that I feel that other parties isn't doing, is actually set things available for our people, which is like especially trans individuals, have bathrooms for them, so they can be in private to themselves, so they don't have to somebody like, oh, you shouldn't be in here. No, yes, they do. They deserve to be here. They they have to use the restroom just like anybody else. But to protect them, I feel like that would be a protective way also. But also, just make sure that we have laws to like. I think honestly is discrimination regardless of the case. If you deny somebody from access of to public spaces or anything like that, but we may need to have stricter discrimination laws because it shouldn't be happening.
Absolutely. We are very much lacking in the 21st century many anti-discrimination legislations. Mackenzie, how does the Green Party differentiate itself from the Democrats when it comes to, and even Republicans when it comes to the LGBT?
Oh, well, Republicans is a very big difference. But unlike the Republican and Democratic Party, when a section of our party comes out as anti-trans and does not agree with every human deserves human rights, we actually take action against them. like we did when we discredited Georgia, because that is wrong. So we actually like walk the walk instead of just say, oh, everyone deserves rights, and then do nothing about it and, just sit there and hope everything's good. We actually take action, and people who do not support the LGBTQ plus community or human rights actually have consequences. So that's a big difference from the Democratic Party and the
Absolutely. That discreditation of Georgia went to a vote of the National Committee of Greens around the country. And it passed with about 88% of all national delegates agreeing that Georgia was in the wrong for not,
as they were.
For not supporting our transgender comrades. Margaret, how does the Democratic Party differentiate from, or the Green Party differentiate from the ruling two-party dictatorship when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues?
So I hope you'll allow me a little lightheartedness about this for just a second. But as they say, they have merely adopted social justice. We were born into it, molded by it. As it turns out, Mayor Jason Platts, back in the 1980s, broke the law by officiating same-sex marriages in New York. The Green Party has always been on the forefront of queer rights. It has never been an issue for us at all. And so, I being a little, humorous there, but it is the case. Our party was founded, baked right into our initial platform with respect for our social justice platform, which was only modified in 2018 by an overwhelming consensus of, again, national delegates. To be just a bit more explicit, but the 2000 platform calls for recognition of gender identity and self-identity and all the things that we advocate for currently. So it's been a 21-year bedrock policy of the Green Party. This is not the case for the Democrats. The Democrats come and go, with whatever civic issue or social justice issue of the time captures their attention. Individual members might have whatever their own pet cause is, but from a party perspective, they are quite wishy-washy. And what would you expect? They are controlled by capital. And capital interests, we'll get into a little bit later on, but capital interests have no particular concern about, advocacy for social justice, and particularly queer people, despite the fact that Raytheon might show up at a pride parade with a banner, right? They don't really care about queer folks.
Yeah. Oof. Celebrate Pride with Lockheed Martin as they bomb LGBTQ plus people in Afghanistan, right? So we only have about 10 minutes left of the live stream. So if you have any questions or comments for our presenters today, please leave them in the comment section. But as you said, capitalism and the dictatorship of capital does play a huge part in everybody's life, no matter where they live in the world. So how does capitalism play into the LGBTQ plus movement, Margaret?
Well, that's a huge question, especially one to kind of anchor the relay race, as it were. So, and again, part of me, I have to really sum up a bunch of things. So broadly, late-stage neo-capitalism provides the illusion of choice and expression all and only in the service of capital. So you'll see companies embracing quote-unquote queer culture and inclusiveness in their social justice policies. But this isn't because of a concern about human rights or the humans involved in this condition. It's about productivity and maximizing the bottom line. To the extent that being inclusive of queer rights helps a company get better employees and retain employees and sell more product, they're into it. If it somehow reduced their clients, they would not care about it. So we understand that in this stage, where we are now in the late stage of advanced capitalism, that everything we see is this illusion of choice. They show you, a Captain Crunch, and they show you a Trix cereal, but they're owned by the same company, the same brand. They show you two different choices and say this is a difference you can actually pick, but it isn't. Every choice you make ultimately feeds the capitalist machine. So we, as a leftist organization and a political party who A, are anti-capitalist, and B, anti-war, which these things are like hand in hand, have a solid challenge before us. How do we separate our social justice movements and keep them from being poached and co-opted by capitalism? That requires us to have solid understanding of our 10 key values, our pillars for the Green Party. If you're a different leftist group, you might have different organizational foundational pillars. But having a solid understanding of those, being able to articulate those to other people. And once you can do this, you have a solid theoretical framework with which to resist the encroachment of capitalism, at least upon your own ideas. It's still a pervasive problem all around us, and there's no way to get through it. I see your hand raising up for time. So
Absolutely. All of our movements are interconnected, from housing to anti-war to women's issues to the environment. They are all interconnected in the United States because of capital interests. Mackenzie, how does capitalism play into the LGBTQ plus movement? For the better or for worse?
Oh, definitely for worse. A lot of people from the LGBTQ plus community struggle with like mental health, as a lot of us do. They can't get to doctor's appointments for financial issues. Same with most people, honestly. They can't get the surgeries they need because insurance won't support it or cover it. So then it's thousands of dollars. They can't get housing because of capitalism. It affects it terribly, as it does everything else. Yep.
Yep. KA, how does capitalism play into the LGBTQ plus movement?
Well, honestly, like I'm not really an expert, and I'm still trying to learn. And that's me being
Absolutely.
honest about the LGBTQIA plus. I'm still trying to learn different things. I have been learning a few things over the past years because I didn't understand in the beginning. And so I had to, sit down, educate myself, and even be around people that can actually tell me about these things. So, far as capitalism on anybody, like even I can say something even on the black community, and I'm sure it's going on in the LGBT. I mean LGBTQ. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm tired, but
It's okay. You've been campaigning all day. We
Oh
understand.
yeah. But I mean, I'm not trying to get it wrong on purpose or nothing. But I have to. So LGBTQIA individuals, and but it's just basically like people say they support us, but they don't. They just try to make a buck, saying Black Lives Matter, for instance. But the people that actually, that's running it really don't care. Not really even doing anything in the communities, and I feel like that happens a lot in different groups, and people want to take advantage of that. So.
Absolutely. We have so many infiltrators and capitalists trying to make a quick buck off of people's identities of who they are. So our last question for this live stream is one of the most important questions, is that we need diverse, inclusive movements for anything to be possible. The LGBT movement can't be strictly only LGBT people. We'll never win. The women's movement cannot only be strictly women. Change will never happen that way. So how can non-LGBTQ plus people, straight people, questioning people, asexual people, how can they help to further this fight and further this push for LGBTQ plus equality? Mackenzie?
First of all, educate yourself. Talk to people from the community, see what they go through. Also, if you're in a room and you hear someone talking absolute trash about people from that community, stand up for that community. Be like, hey, that's ridiculous. Why would you say something like that? Stand up. Even if you're not in a room with people from the LGBTQ plus community, still, you should always stand up for people, because you wouldn't want people talking about you like that. But yeah, just educate yourself and stand up. but also don't act like you totally understand their issues because you're not going through the same thing they are. Realize that you will not be able to always understand what they're going through, so you need to have empathy with them too.
Absolutely, empathy, keyword empathy.
Mhm.
KA, how can non-LGBTQ plus people help the movement?
Be involved. Go to the festivals. Go to the events. Go to if they have chapters in your neighborhoods or cities. Participate in their meetings. Different things. I mean, especially if you have a close one or a loved one, embrace them. Like embrace them as much as you can because not everybody in the family is going to be accepted of that. At least they know that you have their back, and you can learn a lot from them. Um, and but yeah, I feel like just being in the area. Don't be shy to be around people that's not you. Definitely embrace that.
It can definitely be hard at first. Yeah, change and difference can definitely be hard for a lot of people. Margaret, how can non-LGBTQ plus people help the progressive fight?
So that's a great question too. You've had a lot of great questions today, to be fair. So I think there is two kind of terms I'd like to kind of briefly touch on. There's this idea of being a good ally, right? And that is things exactly like that, like standing up when people aren't in the room and saying, "Hey, that's unacceptable. You don't talk about people like this," and it's showing up at meetings and stuff like that. And then there's this idea of kind of going a little bit further, right? Of being an accomplice. And that's somebody who's engaged in actively promoting the same, like, let's say, legislative agenda as the group that you're helping. You don't just like give emotional support, it's material support too, right? You're going to donate your time, your money, if that's what you have, like, whatever. But you're going to put in the effort to make a change. Putting an effort to make a change is the only way change happens. So if we do want change, and we're all Greens, we obviously want change, right? Specifically about the climate, but also on all the other issues that we take personally. So we understand that it's about getting our thoughts right so we understand why we're taking the actions that we are. But then it's about taking these actions. It's about being active. It's about being like this sort of idea in your head, like I'm going to be this ally. I'm going to be this person. And then you do it, right? You just live it and embody it. And the more people do that, the more it becomes normal and you just see how it is. And I think it's really important too. Education is great because it helps you understand, areas which, you have no particular reason to know about. Why would you? It's not part of your daily experience. This is a great thing. In our party, we have a very diverse lavender caucus, right? That's our queer caucus. So we are in all demographics. We're all over the country, and there are a bunch of us to talk to. So it's easy for us to find people with commonalities and to explain these things. I think that if you're someone outside the community and you're trying to be engaged, it can be a bit intimidating. There is sort of a difference in the groups, and so this can be a little challenge to overcome, no doubt about it. But that's a worthwhile barrier to overcome and to find allies on the other side with. We're always interested, I'm speaking broadly of course, but always interested in having accomplices, advocate and work with us. As you say, no marginalized group in the United States has ever gotten their freedom on their own. It's always been with the accomplices and the allyship of other groups. And so we have to recognize that as a real thing, right? We're stronger together. And so we can work together to overcome these problems. And to be fair, the biggest one we're facing is climate change. And there's no way we overcome it unless we work together. So this is just part of how you do it.
Absolutely, definitely working together. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us our live stream and speaking with us today. I want to thank everyone watching on Facebook for tuning in. If you are interested in joining the Ohio Green Party, you can go to ohiogreens.org/join. If you are not in Ohio, you can find your local chapter on gp.org. That is the National Green Party website. So again, I want to thank you all for joining in, and we will see you next month.